Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I would like to welcome you all for His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj has joined us, but I think he'll be here soon.
Continue.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 2. Canto 2, chapter 10 and verse 41. Is it okay?
Yeah, whatever the next one is.
Okay, perfect. I'll share my screen now then.
The next one. Vimati, is 41 the next one?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sattvam Rajastamamiti Tisrasur Nirnarakaha. Tatra Ekaikaso Rajan Vidyante Gatayastrida. Yadhaikaikataro nabhyam swabhava upahanyate. According to the different modes of nature, the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, the mode of darkness, there are different living creatures known as demigods, human beings, and hellish living entities. O King, even a particular mode of nature being mixed with the other two is divided into three, and thus each kind of living creature is influenced by the other modes and acquires its habits also. Purport. The living entities individually are conducted by a particular mode of nature. At the same time, there is every chance of being influenced by the other two. Generally, all conditioned souls in the material engagement are influenced by the mode of passion, because every one of them is trying to lord it over material nature, fulfill his individual desire. But in spite of the individual mode of passion, there is always a chance of being influenced by the other modes of nature by association. If one is in good association, he can develop the mode of goodness. And if one is in bad association, he may develop the mode of darkness or ignorance. Nothing is stereotyped. One can change his habit by good or bad association. And one has to become intelligent enough to discriminate between good and bad. The best association is the service of the devotees of the Lord, and by that association one becomes the highest qualified man by the grace of the Lord's pure devotees. As we already seen in life of Srila Narada Muni, he became the topmost devotee of the Lord simply by the association of pure devotees of the Lord. By birth, he was the son of a maidservant and had no knowledge of his father and no academic education, even of the lowest status. But simply by association with devotees and by eating the remnants of their foodstuffs, he gradually developed the transcendental qualities of devotees. By such association, his chanting and hearing of the transcendental glories of the Lord became prominent. And because the glories of the Lord are non-different from the Lord, he got direct association of the Lord by means of sound representation. Similarly, there's the life of Jamils. In the sixth canto, was the son of a Brahmin and was educated and trained properly in, come on, move it up the page a little. You're afraid to move it? In discharge of the discharge of the devotees of the Brahmanas. But who, in spite of all this, became, because he contacted the bad association of a prostitute, he was put into the lowest quality of a chandala, or at the last position of the human being. Therefore, the Bhagavatam already recommends the association of Mahat for the great souls, for the opening of the gate of salvation. To associate with persons engaged in lording over material energy, Lord, means to enter into the darkness region of hell. One should try to raise himself up by the association of grace soul. That is the way of perfection. Umagyan Timirandasya Ganarjana Savakaya Daksha Samvena Tasmai Shri Guruvena Maham Nama Om Vishnu Badaya Krishna Kristaya Bhutale Srimakde Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Sevasesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya De Satarine Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Paepacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Paepacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya was asked by Sanatana Goswami, what is the first business of a Vaishnav? Lord Chaitanya explained, Asat Sangha Tayaga e Vaishnava Achar. One should give up the association of the non-devotees and take to the association of devotees. And by doing so, one will be able to engage in the goal of life, devotional service. Association is essential, as we see here. One's qualities can be changed simply by the association. And therefore, one should be very careful in the association of non-devotees. Association has to be described in different ways. Some people think physical proximity is association, but it's not. A flea can be on top of an elephant, but what does the flea have to do with the elephant? So in the same way, there is no question of association by physical proximity, although that association may be available. Association means to enter into the mood of the other person, and then you take their association. So therefore, in devotees, if they're in association of the non-devotees, they don't accept the association of the non-devotees, but they give the non-devotees their association. And that is the way by which one can inspire others in Krishna consciousness. But in our ordinary activities, we have to be careful and not to develop deep relationships with the non-devotees, because they share their lives and their values with you, and then you'll be affected by the lower modes of passion and ignorance. Simply by submissively listening to or hearing or acting in the same way as the non-devotees, we lose the position of transcendence or even the mode of goodness and fall into the lower modes. And therefore, then it becomes very difficult. Just like we even speak about prasadam, how to take prasadam or eat food that is cooked by non-devotees. If you do that, then you're accepting their association through foodstuffs, because consciousness goes into food. Another thing is, so therefore one should avoid all food cooked by non-devotees, only by those who are engaged in devotional service, and only by those who are following the regulative principles. If they're not following the regulative principles, then you may also be affected by their sinful activities, even though they may claim to be devotees. Another way to get another person's association in a very, what we say, apparently religious way is to allow people to touch your feet. This is very much customary in India, that people want to get the blessings of a devotee or someone who is advanced in spiritual life, so they touch their feet. But what they're doing, they're giving you some of their karma when they do that. And then you may also experience some bad dreams, or you may even get sick if it becomes, we say, regularly. So Prabhupada writes about that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can only allow devotees to touch your feet, but those who are not initiated should never touch your feet. And if you find yourself stuck in that situation, then when they touch your feet, you simply put your hand on their shoulder or on their head, and then you pass that same energy back towards them like that, or you chant Hare Krishna, both. So therefore, one has to be very careful because this material world is a very contaminated place. And most people are in the mode of passion, as it says here. And then they're just by connecting with them in a very direct way, we will find ourselves, find, find our Krishna consciousness very difficult to execute. Because in the mode of passion, you can't really serve the Lord. You have to come to the mode of goodness. And therefore, one should be very careful to associate only with devotees. And if you have to be in the area of non-devotees, then don't go deep or don't develop friendship with non-devotees. You may develop a type of what we call official friendship, where you just become respectful and polite towards them. But then when it comes to opening up your heart or having them open their heart, and if they want to talk about their family members or their friends, about their exploits on the outside, you'll find yourself becoming contaminated by that association. So we have to be very careful because this material world is a contaminated place, and the material modes of nature are the disease. There's three levels of disease: the disease of ignorance, the disease of passion, the disease of goodness. The disease of goodness is a very easy disease to get rid of when we engage fully in devotional service. But these passion and ignorance are very much prominent in this world. So the one has to be careful not to allow that to happen. In our preaching, we should also try to give the non-devotees our association and be careful not to take their association. So that will make your devotional service very difficult. Okay, so association is very key to understanding um, everything in the process of devotional service. And Prabhupada says simply by associating with devotees and eating the remnants of their foodstuffs, the example was given. Narada Muni actually became purified even at a young boy of 5 years old. And then in his next life, he actually achieved the position of Narada Rish, which means the sage amongst the demigods. He was so exalted. So one can go up and down, up or down by association. That's pretty much the fastest way we can explain. Of course, we want to try when we are not and when we are in the association of devotees, we should try to keep association with devotees connected to Krishna and devotional service and not get into other topics which are useless and just waste of time, just the expression of the what we say, the ever-changing mind. So we should be very careful to keep our consciousness clear and focused. And that way we'll always be happy and we'll always be in control. If you become subjected to the control of the external energy or to by other people, then you have no center. And then you may find yourself in difficult situations. So association is very important. Prasangam Mavirya Sambido Bhavati Ritkarna Rasayana Kata. So we associate in order to glorify the Lord and to engage in devotional service. That is the essence of our association, which elevates us to the transcendental platform beyond the three modes of material nature. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastri Hoy, Lavamatta, Sarva Sange, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. If one is hearing from a great soul and they hear with rapt attention, then that hearing can purify them immediately from all reactions of sinful activities that have accumulated for many lives. So spiritual association is purifying, and it's also quite fast if we're in the right consciousness to receive that association. And that's important. And also, we give association when it's required to others in the way of friendship and to others in the way of compassion to see how we can help them in their Krishna consciousness also. So learn the art of association. It's mentioned in the Bhagavatam, and there are books on that association also. Vaishnava etiquette helps to develop proper mood, and which will bring us into the proper association. So there are books on Vaishnava etiquette, behavior of a Vaishnava, what to avoid, what to accept, in different categories of activities with different classes of people. So this is a great science, and ultimately we want to get the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the process of devotional service, especially through the chanting of the holy names and engaging in practical spiritual activities. And we can connect with Krishna, and that is the best of all association. Then wherever we go, we are like a touchstone. When people come in contact with us, they become Krishna conscious. Like that. Okay, so we'll stop there and we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for putting an emphasis on the association and importance of who should we associate with and who shouldn't we not. Dear devotees, please, if you can, put on your videos so that we can have your darshan. And also, if you have any questions or realization to share, please raise your hand, or otherwise type it in the chat and I'll read on your behalf.
Yeah.
Okay, Sridevi Mataji has raised her hand. Sridevi Mataji.
Thank you, Sukavaha. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. Your point about being very, very careful with non-devotees is well taken, because many times out of compassion, we want to help non-devotees and we want to do something to pull them up in Krishna consciousness. But I recently experienced that backfire a little bit. It was on the very last day in Ujjain when I was trying to involve some non-devotees in the kirtan. How it happened, why it happened, I don't know, Krishna's mercy. But somehow the lady whom I invited came charging at me, stamped with all her weight on my toe and cracked my toe. And later on, of course, I had to suffer the ill effects of that. But I was thinking later on to myself when I related that. You said, Guru Maharaj, you told me, be very careful because they may not understand the procedure or, what the moves are, etc. And I was thinking to myself, some of them may even be envious of devotees. And so we have to be so careful in our dealings with non-devotees. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, when you come to a gathering of devotees and others, you should know there are people there who are envious, who are materialistic, who just come just to maybe learn or something, and they also carry with them many of their characteristics and qualities. It'll be, yeah. If you stay strong in your connection with Krishna, then wherever you go, you can give them the association and not take their association.
Thank you, Mataji. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu.
Thank you. Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, I want to understand more about how can we take association of devotees, particularly more elevated devotees, or even the great acharyas. You mentioned that one of the best ways is to hear from them, But you also said that we need to understand the mood, get into the mood that they're in. So I'd like to learn a bit more about this so that I can try and take more association of great devotees.
Well, generally, we seek out that association and look for those for where they are and sit. And then there's two things you do. One is you hear from them when they speak, and then if you can do some personal service, that would be also beneficial. One of the two things. That's generally the essence. Mostly hearing from them is the association. You're responding to what they're offering, so therefore it's reciprocal. Yeah, so hear from them, ask questions based on understanding philosophical and spiritual knowledge. Like that. And if you can do some personal service, then that's also considered an opportunity to make spiritual advancement.
Guru Maharaj, you said we need to get into their mood. How do we do that?
I don't know if I said that. I don't know where you got that from.
I thought I heard you say that. I may have got it wrong.
Where? How did I say it?
When you said take it as an association of devotees, and you said get into their mood, maybe you meant understand their mood or something to
No,
do
Guru
with their
Maharaj said
mood.
it this way. He said, spiritual association is very purifying and very fast if we are in the right consciousness to receive it.
Yes, he said that later.
Mhm.
I remember he said that a bit later.
Yeah, I did hear that as well about the mood, and that was my question. And when you asked, I said, "Thank you." That was the actually question I was going to ask as well. Guru Maharaj, you mentioned that we have to be in certain mood when we are in the association of the pure devotee to get to receive the mercy from them. So
You
maybe humble,
you don't have to get into their mood. You have to get into the right mood.
right mood, yeah, right mood.
Yeah. That means
Okay.
receptivity for what they're offering, uh, in the mood of questioning for clarifications for further knowledge, like that. In the mood of service, that's also, you know, you can't get into their mood unless you're on that same level.
Thank thank you, Maharaj. Can we take the association of the great acharyas?
Yeah, by reading, by hearing about them from Srila Prabhupada, and by reading some of their books. We read books written by Rupa Goswami, by Sanatan Goswami, by Jiva Goswami, by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, by not so much by Bhakti Siddhanta, but some. Bhaktivinoda Thakur prominent mostly. The commentaries on the scriptures are given by the acharyas also.
Thank you. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhu, for that question. Pariksit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept palm of the businesses. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I would like to express appreciation for the comment that you made about non-devotees coming and touching the hand, touching the feet. It's in Indian tradition especially. There are a couple of people in my neighborhood that usually when they see me, oh, people, especially in the temple, if they come to the temple, they come every now and then they touch my feet, and I don't know what to do about it. They don't chant their rounds and everything, so I knew that I didn't really want them to chant to touch my feet, but they were doing it. And so now that you've me how to counteract it, either touch them in the head or to chant Hare Krishna. I really appreciate it because now I don't have to stop them, but at least I know how to counteract it now from what you said. So I wanted to express thanks and appreciation for telling me how to go about dealing with that. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Sometimes I see a very sinful person coming to touch my feet, and I just move away and don't allow it. And then I fold my hands and offer respects to the person. So yeah, touch him on the back when
Thank you very
yeah, like that. But
Thank you very
and Prabhupada said chant Hare Krishna. So, but he does say avoid it. He even gave instructions to his servants not to allow anyone to touch his feet. They did that because they would rush up to Prabhupada to touch his feet. Prabhupada told his servants not to allow it. But then in certain cases, he did let certain people touch his feet. But in general, he didn't want that to happen because he knows, it could become a rush. They just come and they just one after another,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
But
you.
be polite when you are able to, when they're trying to touch your feet. But if you can avoid it, it's the best.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
Prabhupada makes it important because he actually puts it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There is a purport where he explains that devotees who are initiated, we can do that to each other, but not for those who are not initiated. We're not following the process.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Can I
Please. Okay.
can I
Thank you.
trouble you for the reference for that? I don't know. But it's okay. We already talked about it, so it's okay. No big deal.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Mhm.
Okay. Radha Vinodini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to you. I would a little bit follow up on this question because sometimes in our communities it happens that devotees start to try to eat each other's Mahaprasadam or touch each other's feet. Generally, I saw this behavior in the company of young Matajis, and it feels a little bit like sentimental, but I would like to ask your thoughts about this, if it's okay or not, or how to behave in such situations.
Well, there's nothing wrong in that. I don't see anything wrong in it. But you may not want to take part in it, so just don't take part. That's all.
Okay, so actually that was my question. Okay, so thank you. This answered my question.
Yeah, thank you. Mhm.
Thank you, Mataji. There's a question on the chat by Parijata Mataji. She has a bad internet, so she can't ask herself. She said, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. The question is, since all three gunas are material, what does it mean to be gunatita, beyond the modes, as described later in Bhagavatam and Gita?
Beyond the modes means Sudasattva or transcendental, situated on the spiritual platform, engaged in devotional service. Mhm. When you're engaged in devotional service, you're not working within the modes of material nature because the modes of material nature have reactions. There's reactions in all three modes. And the reactions are according to the type of mode. But spiritual life, devotional service, has no material reactions. That's why it's called akarma, free from all kinds of karma.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hope this helps, Parijat Mataji. Any other questions from any devotees? Any realization? Well, this is a good topic of association. Okay, Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, please.
Maharaj, is it possible for one to take association of a devotee without the other devotee giving association?
Yes, if you're around a senior devotee and there's a lot of people around, he may not give you his personal association, but you're there to take his association. He's giving his association by his presence.
Mm. So does that mean you can also take association by bowing down, by praying to them, by things
Yeah.
that they won't even know you're aware, may not be aware of?
Yeah, that's yeah, that's true. But don't do anything negative.
I try not to.
Can you explain that pastime of Ekalavya with Dronacharya?
Yeah, I think as I heard, it was like he was. I hope I remember the name correctly, but he was the one who learned the art of shooting arrows without Dronacharya personally teaching him.
Right.
He had the deity or some kind of statue of Dronacharya.
Yeah, but he had a material motivation for learning.
Yeah, yes.
Would be better than Arjuna.
Yes, but as I just mentioned, because in this case also Dronacharya didn't give his association, and still somehow it was forced out.
Yeah, he made a deity and he learned the art of archery from the Dronacharya by worshiping Dronacharya through the deity.
Mm.
But then when Dronacharya found out, he said, you have to give some Guru Dakshin. And then he said, okay. He said, all right, cut off your thumb. That's your Guru Dakshin. And he did it because he knew he was doing it simply to be more better than Arjuna. So he worshipped the Guru in the wrong way.
Mm. Yes. For me, it also means like it's not possible to cheat in such associations. Like if I want to get some benefit without the consent of the other, then sometime I have to pay the price after all. But maybe it's.
And be like that, yeah.
Mm.
Because there's people who want association in order to get some material benefit, so they can get some freedom from from sinful activities. Like people like to invite people to come to their house to take prasadam, because they know if they bring a sadhu into the house to take prasadam, they get some punya from that, some spiritual benefit, or at least some material benefit. Anyway.
So is it about material associations like this principle is there, or it's also in spiritual type of association, like if the I mean, if the motivation of Ekalavya had been spiritual, then it could have turned out good, or
Could have been different, but yeah, he wouldn't have asked him to. I don't think Dronacharya would have asked him to, for that dakshin.
Mhm, mhm,
But he knew that he wanted to be better than Arjun. He had a motivation. He didn't want to learn the art simply for the sake of learning, but he wanted to learn to be superior to one who was already very advanced. And he actually achieved that. I mean, Ekalavya became so expert simply by worshiping Dronacharya.
Mm.
He reached such a high level of archery or ability in archery. But Dronacharya didn't appreciate the way he approached him. Didn't approach him and simply cheated.
mm. Yeah. Thank you so much for the clarification, and thank you, Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, for the interesting question.
Yeah. Gurumaharaj, I've got the follow-up question on that one. If suppose, does this mean that if we are listening to some of the devotees' classes and trying to learn something from them, that is not right?
Well, they're giving their association by giving classes
Mm.
for anybody. But if you're listening to them in order to get some material benefit from them, then you may also find yourself getting, a reaction for that.
Okay.
Or you may not get the material benefit at the best. Mhm.
No, just for improve our spiritual knowledge, it's okay, isn't it?
People come to our lectures.
Mm.
Some of them are envious. Some of them are looking for uh, personal gain on a material level.
Mm.
That's why this science is very dangerous in the hands of the non-devotees, because they can use it for personal gain.
Yeah.
One time I was sitting in a class with a very elevated devotee, and this devotee is very, very advanced. And I was sitting in the back and I was thinking, now I'm going to learn some points from this class that I can use in my preaching. And the first thing he said when he sat down was, we shouldn't come to class simply to learn things to use in our own service.
Oh.
First thing he said. So I mean, he was able to pick up on my mentality, and I was sitting way in the back.
Mm.
So you have to be careful, because Krishna's in the heart of those who are they're in those who are advanced. They know Krishna in the heart, and therefore Krishna is telling them things that you can't perceive.
True. Okay.
You have to be careful.
Mm.
Association of advanced devotees, because they can see you for who you are. They're not
Mm.
judgmental, but at the same time, if you're in a negative mood, then they can pick up on that and
Mm.
avoid.
But Guru Maharaj, we have been told that we have to repeat what we hear from the Srila Prabhupada and the spiritual masters and other senior devotees. So isn't that when we repeat, it is something we are following their instructions and preaching them others?
You repeat it for other person's benefits, not for your benefit.
No, not for our benefit, for other person's benefit. Because when they ask questions, we can answer by from the class where we have heard these things.
Don't misunderstand what I'm saying and reinterpret it in your own way. We hear from people who speak. The speaking is available. Anyone can come and hear. But those who have motivations for material gain from these situations will actually not able to get the benefit. They may also get some material benefit, but it won't give them any satisfaction, obviously.
Got it. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah. Just like it says in the 9th offense to the holy name, one should not preach the glories of the holy name to the faithless. So sometimes when we're in a large group, we speak about the holy name, and there may be some faithless people there, but sometimes we take that chance in order to give benefit to others. But we try to avoid it. On a one-to-one basis, we avoid it completely.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or realization, devotees, please ask or type in the chat. Yeah, Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu.
Yes, I remember hearing from Keshava Maharaj. He was saying sometimes we're here to increase our knowledge. Sometimes we're here to soften our heart. For example, for hearing Leela, it's more to soften our heart. So in any situation, should we just try and focus on being in the right mood and hearing attentively and just try and absorb whatever comes?
Yeah, that's hearing. Hear without any preconceived ideas of what you will get. Called submissive oral reception.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, looks like we ran out of questions. All of these pundits online here, no questions. I can't believe it. This subject matter is an interesting subject matter. Okay, we got two more. Okay, we got the pundit.
Balwandita Prabhu can go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble pranams and all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you and the assembled Vaishnavas. I can just feel sometimes, you take the association of a Mahat, and it is just, sometimes hypnotizingly blissful. Yesterday, Mataji and I took the association of the great Stephen Knapp at the Detroit ISKCON Temple, and it was enlivening. What is it? I mean, spiritually, what is it doing, taking that association? Does it purify me in some sense, or taking that association? Yeah, that's my question, Guru. What is it doing to me?
The whole Bhagavatam. And Sukadev Goswami speaking, Maharaj Pariksit is hearing, asking questions based on what he hears. So one of the 9 processes of bhakti is to become perfect in Krishna consciousness through the process of hearing. So if you're hearing from great souls, you're becoming purified simply by the hearing process. Even if you don't understand, there's some purification there. But if you understand, it's even greater. Yeah.
It's my conscious, my spirit. What it is destroying some of my karma. All of those things are happening, or?
Well, what's happening is, one, you're getting some knowledge, obviously, and you also may not be perceptible, but you're also getting some detachment from material life, more detachment, gradual. Detachment from material life, awakening our relationship with Krishna, purifying the heart from material tendencies and material activities. All of this is there in the hearing process. Along with the knowledge is also interesting. Stephen Knapp is very interesting.
It was a lovely yesterday.
Yeah, he recently he won very high award in India for his books.
Didn't the president Modi give him an award?
Huh?
I believe, wasn't it Modi himself? President Modi?
Modi was, I think it was the RSS. No, there was some groups, very elevated Hindu groups, others who came together for his books. Have you read any of his books?
He gave me a list. No, I've heard him speak several times, and you know, he's a lovely speaker. But no, I haven't had a chance to read any of his texts yet.
Yeah, his books are interesting. They're quite novel too. They take you deeper into Vaishnav culture through history, through architect, through tradition, through various Vedic subject matters. Very interesting, extremely interesting.
His autobiography just came out, he told me yesterday, so I will definitely be picking that up.
Well, he wrote his autobiography?
Yeah, that was his most recent text. It's his memoir. So,
well, okay, that's it. I haven't seen him in a long time.
I'll give him your regards next time I run into him.
Yeah, please. Obeisances.
Basically, it's pronounced.
Actually,
Hi, Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Hi, Krishna. My humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, my question is, I have a habit of trying to understand the scriptures and the words of Krishna through logic. So how can I give up on this habit?
what is the habit?
Because what happens with me is I try to understand the scripture through logics. So how can I give up on this habit?
Scriptures too. That word you used?
Logics.
Logic. Well, the scriptures are transcendentally logical. Their logic is not like material logic. I'll give you an example. In the scriptures, it says, if you touch stool or if you pass stool, you have to bathe immediately. Otherwise, you remain contaminated. So, but it says if you touch the stool of a cow, it's pure and you actually get purified. So there apparently is a contradiction in logic. If you touch bone is also contaminating. You have to bathe immediately. But on the altar, we use the conch shell, which is a bone of an animal. So there's another contradiction in logic. So you have to accept Vedic logic as being the absolute principle of logic. So if you use material logic to understand Vedic principles, you might find yourself confused or, coming to a wrong conclusion. Logically is that there is creation, therefore the logical understanding is there has to be a creator for every creation. So this whole cosmic creation has a creator, and then who is that creator? So that's logic. You can't find creation without creator. So using logic, we can also defeat the atheist.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. So it's on the basis of, you can say, the circumstance and science based on circumstance. We use the logics. Is it true?
Yeah, but there's certain things that are beyond logic.
Mhm.
And that they're coming directly from Krishna himself. Which he has his own logic. Just like if you eat food, you get sinful reactions. But if you eat prasadam, you get elevated and purified. So the food looks the same, but it's not. Once it's offered, it becomes transformed by the presence of Krishna, by the touch of Krishna. So where's the logic?
Yes, Guru. Thank you. You said in the lecture that when a non-devotee touch feet of a devotee, then that says that there's a karmic reaction for it. So I was trying to understand that in logic. So I don't know if logic applies here.
You're spiritually powerful, you can absorb that reaction. But if you're not powerful, you'll get affected. And so we shouldn't assume that we're so spiritually powerful that we can people can touch our feet and we won't get a reaction. That's the point.
Thank you so much for
Okay. Yeah, I have to leave it on the hour because of other engagements.
There's one question in the chat by Ruchi Mataji. Is it okay to read, Maharaj? Sorry, where is it gone? She says that if Guru also gets their knowledge from God, what is wrong in trying to be better than Arjuna? Also, isn't everyone innately a devotee of Krishna?
No, he wanted to be better than God, Arjuna, for material benefit. He wanted to be known as the best archer. It was material, wasn't spiritual. Okay, you can worship the Guru for material benefit too, but you'll simply go down. That's all.
Hope that helps, Ruchi Mataji. Radha Vinodini Mataji has put the comment on the logic. Once I heard in the discussion between Chaitanya Charan Prabhu and Radhika Raman Prabhu, and the later said that material logic is just like anything material. Whenever it is useful in devotional service, a devotee uses it, and whenever it is not, or even an obstacle, a devotee doesn't use it.
Very good. Okay.
Thank you.
Have to know the difference. That's the point.
That is true. Yeah, very nicely put.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Dandavats to all the Vaishnavas here.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, glory to Prabhupada.
Can I touch everybody's feet?
No.
My hands are here. I'm going to touch it.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much. Haribol.